Warzone has a problem with operator bundles and crossover events, and there's a really interesting conversation to be had about it. You see, if you scroll through the brain rot on Twitter and Reddit, you'll see a trend in people believing that Warzone has become a gimmick of itself and is becoming more like Fortnite. The thing is though, the player base is actively encouraging this, despite what you might read online. The vocal minority on social media calling for a so-called store toggle appears to be the voice of the community, but it's far from the truth. There was a tweet made by an account called Detonated, which is quite big in the COD space on Twitter, and it floated the idea a few months ago. And whilst it's not the first time this discourse has come up, for some bizarre reason, people saw this tweet and decided that a skin toggle was officially coming to Warzone without any actual confirmation coming from Activision themselves. It's funny as well because they posted a poll in response to this, asking people if they'd prefer the creative, or goofy skins I should say, or the realistic military-inspired skins, and the overwhelming majority opted for the military-inspired skins. But here's the thing, when a crossover event happens in-game, you see hundreds and hundreds of people across several matches using the new skins, which is very telling that most people actually prefer them over the realistic stuff. And actually, if you think about it, once you've got one or two military skins available, there's not really any more unique skins that you can actually put out, because that's not to say that all military outfits look the same, obviously they don't, but my point is that operators wearing black milsim clothing all look very similar. Not only this, but I've also started to notice that when playing Battle Royale casual, you can sort of tell who is a bot and who isn't, because squads of bots tend to all use various different paid operator skins, whereas real players often tend to kind of match a similar aesthetic amongst each other. I guess people choose to use similar skins based on what their friends are using. Like, I've rarely ever killed a bot that's using a default skin, and I know this is anecdotal, but I've seen several bots using unreleased skins that were never available to players in the first place. And I think this is probably subliminal messaging from Activision, where they're using bots to promote skins, almost like walking adverts in the game. So what about having a skin toggle in the game if you don't want to see the silly or wacky skins running around? Well, most people probably don't realise this, but especially during the Modern Warfare 2, and I think the Modern Warfare 3 era, I'm not 100% sure on that one, PlayStation players had access to exclusive operator skins for the Oni operator, as well as blueprints for certain weapons. Now if you played on Xbox or PC, these skins wouldn't show up, and in fact they'd be replaced by their default variants instead, meaning that if you use the Oni operator during the exclusivity window, only other PlayStation players would be able to see it. And this kind of tracks as well, because there are a lot of PlayStation players that play Call of Duty, and thinking back to Modern Warfare 2 and 3, I saw a lot of default skins running around, and I just thought people liked the default skins. So yes, this technology does actually exist in the game and has been used publicly before, but it's not something Activision will roll out for anyone to turn on or off themselves. That's because they make an absolute fortune from selling bundles, and if they allowed people to filter unrealistic skins from the game, people wouldn't see the skins available for purchase, and ultimately they'd end up losing money, so it's just never going to happen. In fact, one thing that sort of prompted this video was that Call of Duty announced yesterday, out of the blue, that they're doing a crossover event for the TV show Beavis and Butthead. That was never on the Season 4 roadmap, so it's obviously a deal that they've recently done, so that's more proof that they're not going to slow down with selling silly skins. I've also been told that they do this skin filtering in Call of Duty League as well, whereby teams have to use their own operator skins and camos, and in fact, apparently it goes one step further, and live switches camos on guns that other players pick up. Like, that is wild. So no, Activision is never going to let people toggle skins on or off because they just make too much money from the sales. And if you don't like it, you just need to get used to it. It's the direction of modern gaming. But let me know what you think in the comments. Are crossover events a good thing, or do you think it ruins the vibe of the game? I'm interested to know what you guys think. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. I want to give a big shout out to my channel members for your continued support. I really appreciate it, and thank you to everyone that has watched the video this far. Please remember to like the video if you liked it, subscribe so you don't miss out on my next one, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!